And here in the studio we have Dr. Martin Sherman, Director of the Israel Institute for Strategic Studies, and Meretz Party candidate Yariv Oppenheimer. Welcome both. Yariv, let's go to you first. Your Meretz Party was the party that petitioned to have Jewish power banned from the Knesset. So your reaction to the decision, they will be able to run?
I'm very disappointed of this decision. I think that the cause for this decision is Kulanu, Kahlon party, that decided not to be in the room when they are voting and actually to run away from this question. This is a political committee that the people that are voting are not legal people. They are people that are coming from political parties. And it's a shame, I think, that the Likud party and right-wing parties that declare themselves as right-wing but still democratic one support actually Kahana and racist movement like that.
Likud has a vote-sharing agreement with the Union of right-wing parties, a surplus vote-sharing agreement.
And we know that Netanyahu was the one to push these people into the new party, the right-wing party that they are in right now. So I remember the Likud people, including Menachem Begin, going out of the Knesset assembly when these people were talking there. And now they are not only that they are legitimate, the Likud is fighting in order them to be in the Knesset. I think that this is a shame.
And the successors of Menachem Begin not leaving when the Kahanis are speaking, but leaving the room on the vote on whether to ban them. Dr. Sherman, are you happy to see the far right enter the Knesset?
Look, let me say something first, personal first. I grew up in South Africa in the apartheid era. My father used to defend blacks pro bono against the regime. So I know what apartheid really was. No one can really tell me what apartheid is.
You're the first person to mention apartheid in this studio today.
No, well, we're talking about racism. Okay, we're talking about racism,
which is an element of apartheid, but
it's an offshoot of apartheid. But I haven't heard Ben-Ari say anything about racial superiority, which is basically racism. He's identified the Arabs. You can say harshly, you can say inappropriately, you can say he could have put it in a better way. But he's identified the Arabs as the enemy. Now, what he's talking about is Arab enmity, not Arab ethnicity. And I think, you know, after all, democratic governance is not a suicide pact. And if you want to preserve Israel as a nation state of the Jewish people, you have to relate to reality. Just a minute. In the last election, when the joint list rode, en bloc, almost to a man, the Arab electorate voted for non-Zionist party. Now, if denying Israel as a Jewish state I
want to get onto the Arab parties later, but first, if you would explain, would you classify the Jewish Power Party as being far right? Is that a fair description?
Well, I think it's far right. It's very hawkish. I don't know what you mean by right. I mean, I'm sure what I don't know.
It's the successor of a party that called to ban Arabs from public beaches and sex between Jews and Arabs.
Well, you know, I can't endorse everything that Khan says, but I have the Jewish Power platform here, and what it says when it talks about regime and morals, it says the regime will be a Jewish democracy. Mm-hmm. That doesn't sound very anti-democratic to me.
You know, but by the way, this platform they are using it in order to be able to run. But when you listen to the people, what they are saying, and the quote we just heard, not only that this is racism because they are talking about all the Arabs, generalizing all the Arabs. Yes, they are. Not only that they are doing that. I heard a quote. Not only that they are doing it, that they are also incitement. And I'm telling you, if there was an Arab politician that will speak exactly the same words about Jewish people, not only that he cannot run, he will be in jail under incitement. And this is something that should be unacceptable, including right-wing people like you.
Arab politicians have not only openly supported terror, they've traveled
they've kick out all the Jews from here. They said that
I promise we're going to get around to talk about the Arab parties. Let's focus on Jewish Power Party now. Yariv, Martin's done you a favor here, bringing you the manifesto or the principles of the Jewish Power Party. What specifically do you think?
Not one word of racism.
What specifically in that platform? Do you think there's anything in the platform that disqualifies them?
I think that they are building this platform in order to avoid being...
But let's focus on the platform for a moment, because you've spoken about their past... Forget the past statements for a moment. Is there anything in the platform that should disqualify them from office?
They eventually believe in Kahana ideology. And Kahana ideology is saying that Israel should not be a democratic state. It should be a state for Jewish people. And the Arab minority should go away from here. And this is the ideology. This is what they are saying.
So just to clarify, in the platform, is there anything in the platform that should disqualify them from office?
I didn't read all the small words in the platform, but I know.
Believe me,
this is the reason. Just a second.
There's nothing.
This is the reason why the name of the organization today is not Kach or Kahana, but they changed it to a Jewish Power because they knew that if they will continue to run with Kach Kahana, then they will be out. The same with the platform. They are writing this platform in order to be able to squeeze in, and this is why the reason that the decision of the legal advisor to the government was speaking about the candidate and not about the party. But if you look deep and you look about what they are saying and who are the rabbis that they are following, these are the most racist rabbis that Israel had.
When you say racist,
because they are saying the Arab should be out. You know that Kahana said that there is no innocent Arab. There is nothing like an innocent Arab. How you can define this expression bad racism? And these are the people that are saying out loud we are following Kahana.
No, it's got nothing to do with race. It's got nothing to do with ethnicity. It's got to do with enmity. That's exactly why. That's exactly why.
Girls, Jewish girls that should not go with Arabs, and the Arabs trying to gain our girls. And they're saying that even the Jews are not loyal to Israel because they are Arabs.
Context here. One of the founders of the Jewish Home Party, Benti Gopstein, runs the Lahava organization, which is an explicitly anti-miscegenation NGO which tries to stop Jewish girls going out with Arab men. Does that not sound racist to you?
I know someone like Ariel Dad, who was the chief medical officer of the IDF, who was a lecturer at the Hebrew University. He was part of Otzma Yehudit. Is he a racist?
It's a shame for him that he was part of it, but I'm telling you more than that. What is so severe this time is that in the past it was only the right wing that were supporting these people. Today it's the Israeli Prime Minister and people maybe like you that are saying it's fine, we are fine, and we are even voting for them. We are doing many tricks, political tricks, in order to squeeze them into the government and to the Knesset. And this is the problematic. What we are seeing changing in the Israeli right wing.
I'm amazed at the double standards.
No double standards?
Of course double standards, because you will not apply exactly the same standards to the Arabs.
Of course
because the Arabs, by the letter of the law, you don't have to interpret it. The Arabs specifically are against Israel being the nation state of the Jewish people.
This is their right, by the way.
No, it's not their right.
Like the Orthodox religious don't believe in that as well. You know that Litzman is not a Zionist?
It's not
you know Litzman, the health minister, he's not a Zionist.
Martin, you raise a very important point here, because one of the criteria, if we bring up on the screen now the criteria for disqualifying candidates, is the negation or denial. It's a Hebrew word that translates as both negation and denial of the existence of the state of Israel as a Jewish and democratic state. Yariv, no matter which way you look at the facts, Balad, Hadash, Ta'al, all the Arab parties deny/negate the existence of Israel as a Jewish and democratic state. They should be disqualified, shouldn't they?
That's true, but not only them. If you look at the ultra-Orthodox religious parties, they are also saying that they are... Just a second, let me finish. They are also saying that Israel should not be a Zionist one. And by the way...
to understand, you agree... Just to understand, Yariv, you're saying you agree that Balad and the other Arab parties violate that clause and should therefore be disqualified?
No, they should not be disqualified.
But under the law. But this is the law,
because they are not believing in racism. They have
but we're talking about a different clause.
Yeah, I think that... By the way, I think that this article... Just a second, please.
Exactly.
But please, let me say one more. This article is a wrong one, because I know political parties that don't believe in democracy. The ones that believe in occupation, they are not believing in democracy. So according to this,
be banned too?
I think not. I think that this line in the law should be banned, and actually this is what's going on for many years.
But given this is the law.
Yeah, but this is the reason why we have Supreme Court, and why every election we see that the Israeli Supreme Court cancelled the cancellation of parties because of that. But they are not calling all the Jews as enemies.
Yariv, please, Martin.
You know, I said at the beginning, democracy is not a suicide pact. And if you want to conceptualize the conflict between us and the Arab world, it's a clash between two collectives. that have irreconcilable founding narratives. There is no middle ground. One side must emerge victorious. The other side must be vanquished. And I suggest that you consider the option that the Jewish collective loses. Because if the Jewish collective loses, there will be no individual rights and there will be no national rights. So you had better decide which side you want to win.
You cannot force 20% of the Israeli Arabs, 20% of the Israeli citizens that are Arabs, you cannot force them to be Zionists. They don't believe in Zionism, but they believe in the state of Israel. They are part of the state of Israel.
As what?
They wish, I will answer you, they wish that it will be a democratic state.
I wish we could continue this conversation outside the studio, and you know what, with the far right entering the Knesset now, we will continue to argue over it. Yariv Oppenheimer, Martin Sherman, thank you very much for joining us.